Good afternoon. This is Sunday, September 25th, 2022. Hope everybody is having a good day. Yesterday, I looked on the internet and a news item just popped out. It was not good news. A Hunt County jury in Greenville found Sean Lucas, a former police officer who shot and killed a black man named Jonathan Price on October 2nd, 2020, not guilty of murder. Lucas was fired from the Wolf City Police Department following the incident, admitting to shooting Price, but insisted he was acting in self-defense, a claim the prosecution denied. Price's mother, Marcella Lewis, has filed a federal lawsuit against Lucas and Wolf City and the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas. I was able to download a copy of this petition, and so this case hit home to me because Wolf City to me is a very special place. Anyone who's listened to earlier videos may be aware of my prophetic journey that I took at the beginning of my pastoral ministry in the AME Church. This occurred on August 27th, 1976. When I left the apartment in Teague where I was living, drove through Fairfield, Corsicana, Ennis, Kaufman. In Kaufman, I stopped and bought gas. Then I went through Terrell and Quinlan and Greenville. I stopped in Wolf City and had some breakfast. And then I went to Bonham to Bradford Chapel AME Church for annual conference and learned that I was going to be sent to a church in Dallas. 3 years later, I was assigned to Macedonia AME Church in Kaufman. I served as pastor in Macedonia for 8 years. From 2002 to 2016, I served as pastor of Wayman Chapel AME Church in Ennis. And since 2016, I have been pastor of Bethel AME Church in Corsicana. It was prophetic because I drove through these three towns, Corsicana, Ennis, and Kaufman, not realizing I was destined to serve as pastor of churches in each community. Thank God for my journey as it continues. We hope in a few years to retire and return to Fairfield, my wife's hometown. But that was my first time in Wolf City. I remember eating some good pancakes for breakfast. I didn't return to Wolf City until 2021. I visited several meetings of Excelsior Lodge there, and I had received a warm welcome at Excelsior Masonic Lodge number 505. And right next door is El Arbor Mexican restaurant. I had dinner with a friend there. Also went back to the lodge a couple of times in October of last year for a pancake breakfast. So I got friends in Wolf City and the surrounding area. What happened there was very sad. And this occurred on October 2nd of 2020. And on that day, Lucas was responding to a report of a disturbance and a fight in progress at a store in Wolf City. Price, who was greeted Lucas and tried to shake the officer's hand. Lucas thought Price was drunk and attempted to detain him. Price told him, "I can't be detained," according to the affidavit. Officer Lucas continued to attempt to detain Price by grabbing Price's arm and using verbal commands, which were both unsuccessful. Lucas told Price he would be tased if he didn't comply, and Price began to walk away, according to the affidavit. Lucas used his taser, but the device was not fully effective, and Price continued to walk toward Officer Lucas while being tased, according to the document. And Lee Merritt, the attorney representing the Price family, said he is appealing to the Department of Justice to intervene and bring federal crime charges against Lucas. Sean Lucas was acquitted in rural Hunt County, Texas by an all-white jury. At the time of his murder, Price was unarmed and did not pose a threat to anyone. And most everybody who's observed the case has concluded that that was definitely using excessive court force. As far as I was not in the courtroom and I don't know about the jury selection process, it was in 1986 that the U.S. Supreme Court in Batson versus Kentucky declared that racial discrimination in jury selection was unconstitutional. It specifically addressed prosecutors and race-based peremptory strikes. You see, both the prosecuting attorney and the defense attorney have the right during what's called voir dire, in which they're selecting jurors, to strike X number of jurors from the jury pool. And prior to 1986, no explanation was needed. They would strike them for any reason. I was a character witness in a trial of a black man in Dallas in 1978, and I was just getting immersed in the legal system, and a lot of things I didn't understand, and this defendant was found guilty by an all-white jury. The defense attorney later explained to me there were 7 African Americans in the jury pool. The prosecutor struck all of them. He explained how it worked, that in this case that I was involved in, man was charged with armed robbery, stealing some cough syrup from a Tom Thumb store. And he was shot in the back by an off-duty police officer and working as a security guard. And the way this was explained, the defense attorney explained to me that had there been a police officer or a grocery store owner in the jury pool, he would have struck him, because both of them try to get a jury biased more favorable toward their side. Now, this was a case in which discrimination was, again, I don't know how many, if any, African Americans were in the original jury pool, but there was another Supreme Court decision. To be honest, I don't remember the name or the date of this case, but it dealt with peremptory strikes or discrimination in peremptory strikes by defense attorneys. And defense attorneys have been guilty of this, but prosecutors much more so. This was a case in which the prosecutor was trying to convict a white officer for killing a black man, and the defense was trying to do otherwise. Well, Attorney Merritt said the situation was resolved before law enforcement arrived, according to witnesses. Why this officer still felt the need to tase and shoot Jonathan is beyond comprehension. There's some pictures. The top of Jonathan Price at the bottom of Sean Lucas. It's not over, though. Because well, they got a federal lawsuit. They're trying to see if they can charge Lucas with a federal crime, civil rights violations. Double jeopardy prohibits anybody from being tried twice for the same crime. And if it so there's no way he could be tried again for murder after he was found not guilty. But sometimes one is found not guilty in criminal court and still loses their case in civil courts. Of course, the most famous example of that was O.J. Simpson. And according to the affidavit, plaintiff Marcella Lewis is the mother of Jonathan Price and the personal representative of his estate. He is an adult individual and resident of the state of Texas. Defendant Officer Sean Lucas was at all relevant times a duly appointed officer with the Wolf City, Texas. He is sued in his individual capacity. And Jonathan Price is a beloved member of the Wolf City community, a local sports star, a man who consistently contributed to his community. It was on October 3rd, 2020. I said October 2nd, that was a mistake. He arrived at the Quick Check with two longtime friends, having just come from a funeral of a loved one. I know where Quick Check is. It's right down the street from the lodge and restaurant I've been to. While his friends went out inside the store, Mr. Price remained outside and had a conversation with someone in the parking lot. As Price went to the end of the store, he bumped into a customer who was exiting. This contact led to a brief tussle. The woman also jumped in the tussle and climbed on Price's back. The tussle was broken up by other customers at the store. It ended without anyone sustaining injuries. Police was called to the scene, and Sean Lucas responded. Upon his arrival, Lucas was approached by Price. He asked, "Are you doing good?" multiple times, extending his hand in a handshake gesture. Officer Lucas declined to shake hands and stated his intent to detain Price because he believed him to be intoxicated. Price stated he can't be detained because he had done nothing wrong, began to walk away. Within seconds, Lucas deployed his taser and fired its barbs into Price's body. Price made no indication of aggression or resistance, posed no danger to Officer Lucas at the time he was tased. Price was not in possession of any firearms, weapons, or other objects that would pose a threat to Officer Lucas. The taser was fired into into Price's body. It caused brief neuromuscular incapacitation, caused his body to awkwardly lurch forward. Immediately after tasing him, Lucas discharged his Wolf City Police Department firearm 4 times in Price's chest. Come on now. Self-defense. Price did not pose any threat to Officer Lucas at the time he was shot. Officer Lucas was not in danger of serious bodily injury or death at the time he shot Price. Officer Lucas was not in reasonable fear of serious bodily injury or death. There was no justification for using lethal force. The bullets fired into Price's chest caused extreme pain, agony, fear, distress, and an untimely death at the age of 31. The death of Price has not only devastated his friends and family, but also sent shock waves throughout the close-knit community of Wolf City. Please don't blame this on Wolf City. I love Wolf City. It's a wonderful community. You got some wonderful people there. He was not a native. Lucas was not, and it's my understanding he had only been on the force a fairly short time and had some previous problems with other police jobs. But plaintiff, as the personal representative of the estate of Price, is seeking damages and payment for medical bills and expenses, payment for funeral and burial expenses, and that was certainly unreasonable force. Putting Sean Lucas away won't bring Jonathan Price back. I know that. But the family is entitled to have justice done. And so let's join in prayer for those affected by this tragedy. May Jonathan Price's family eventually find peace. Everybody else who's affected by it, including the family of Sean Lucas. This case occurred just a few months after the much better publicized George Floyd case. Derek Chauvin is doing time. As of today, as of the other day, Sean Lucas is not. Justice needs to be done. Have a great day.